All those invited guests, all other protocol observed, gentlemen, you are all welcome to this occasion. This is the first conference of this important occasion, Argungu Educational Aids for the less privileged children. The theme of this occasion today is education and socio-economic transformation. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the theme of the occasion, and I'm very pleased to see that an indigenous of Argungu tried this idea, and this is the first time we are seeing this type of inhabitant. An NGO trying as much as possible to go into the system of education our less privileged children. Gentlemen, we welcome all of you here, and we hope you will be able to contribute immensely, because this is supposed to be a discussion. And discussion, certainly, people are supposed to put in an input. So, gentlemen, we most sincerely welcome all of you who happen to honor our invitation to come here. And I wish we will have a very good deliberation and a successful deliberation on this important theme, education and socio-economic transformation. The less privileged by this foundation, Argungu Educational Aids. So, gentlemen, we welcome all of you, and we wish you a very good deliberation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Naji. As portrays one of the cardinals of a good teacher, a father, a leader, and most of all, a very special advisor. May I use this singular honor to personally appreciate what Alhaji Mazakama has just done for. Without much ado, I will, from the royal father of the day, the second Yahweh Lava.
It is a great honor today indeed to invite His Royal Highness to inaugurate this important conference, that is education and social transformation, organized by Argungu Educational Aids for the underprivileged children. That is foundation. However, His Royal Highness, who is unavoidably absent, has mandated me to stand on his behalf to inaugurate this conference. So while inaugurating this conference, His Royal Highness, the Emir of Argungu, is appealing to parents and guardians to complement this foundation effort by sending their children to school. This will help our underprivileged children by moving them from streets and prepare them for a better future ahead. Furthermore, the Argungu Emirate Council and the entire Argungu community are very happy to be associated with this foundation. May Allah Almighty guide us throughout our deliberation. With these short remarks, I hereby inaugurate this conference on behalf of His Royal Highness, the Emir of Argungu, and may Allah guide us throughout our future endeavors. Assalamu alaikum.
I agree with me that he has done justice. Congratulating and also to relate what the young man of the state will go into the same program to assist two distinguished speakers today that will be doing justice to the education and socio-economic transformation, expanding literacy coverage universities, and justice will be done to the paper itself by Dr.
Dr. A.M. Inua. He was sent by the university on a certain assignment, so he's presently in Mixed. So in plus he asked me to come and make the presentation on his behalf. My name is Adri from the Department of Science and Vocational Education of Argungu University, Sokoto. So the discussion, though I would like to make some few confessions from the beginning before I move ahead. I have a paper that is getting to 32 pages, and the time allocated for the presentation from the program of events I was given is 30 minutes. So even if I should read verbatim what the doctor has written in the paper, the time may not be able to permit me to read all through. But I would like to handpick some key points that will be considered central to the theme of the discussion, give some highlights on them based on my background as an educationist, so somebody who was trained in education, and then call it a day. So the title of the presentation does not deviate from what has been written on the banner there: Education and Socio-Economic Transformation, Expanding Literacy Coverage in Northern Nigeria. Looking critically at what is written there on the theme, we can see there are some words there that will be considered central. For example, education, socio-economic transformation, and then literacy. Now, the issue of literacy in Nigeria, especially when it comes to the northern part of this country, has over the years been a very contentious issue. Contentious issue in the sense that historically, when the Western education came to Nigeria, it came through the southern part of this country. It only came to the northern part of this country after a couple of years, after the South has been producing professors. So now, but the issue is, since we are talking about literacy, even the time when the Western world came with this knowledge, so-called Western education, when they came here, they met our scholars who were already knowledgeable Islamically. And somebody who is knowledgeable Islamically, who can write the Arabic text of the Quran and many other aspects of Islam and religion, you cannot consider that person to be illiterate. And as such, that is what makes the issue of literacy somewhat very controversial and contentious. Now, if I can read Huruf al-Hijaiya, alifun bound up to the end, you cannot outrightly call me an illiterate, simply because what you believe to be the knowledge, that's Western education, is what you only want people all the world to believe as an education. And as such, I cannot outrightly be called somebody who has not been to school or somebody who is not educated. So that is the impression I would like to correct what the paper tries to address. Now, only when somebody is educated, that such a person is expected to be socio-economically buoyant. That his economic status is expected to rise to a certain level. And likewise, the society in general will experience a rapid transformation in its socio-economic space. So now, a lot of provisions have been made by the Nigerian system of education that there is a certain level of literacy level that every individual has to attain for that person to be called somebody who is literate. For example, the national policy on education makes it very clear that somebody or children of school-going age must be enrolled to acquire education at basic level, even if at the end of the day they are going to drop out and leave the system completely. The expectation is they are supposed to be exposed to that education so that they will acquire literacy to some level in terms of numeracy, computer skills, writing, and what have you. That is the provision made by Nigerian policy on education. And you can only expect a society to develop socio-economically when a certain number of their inhabitants acquire education. We have seen this with the Western world, and likewise the Asian tigers. A substantial percentage of people in these parts of the world I have just mentioned, the West and the Asian part of this world, are literate, and that is why the process of their transformation socio-economically is very rapid. To such an extent now that a country like Malaysia, who initially when it was coming up, was not even considered to be as economically buoyant as two states in this country, Lagos and Kaduna. But now, to the surprise of many, Malaysia has transformed to such an extent that for Nigeria to reach the level of transformation of Malaysia, it will take divine intervention, so to speak. Let me put it this way. And it is unfortunate, and that is, another topic of discussion and study. Now, going to literacy. Literacy, how now can we consider somebody to be literate? A lot of definitions have been given by scholars about what literacy is all about. When somebody can read and write to a certain level of proficiency, such a person can be considered to have been to school, and he can be considered to be literate. So is it the same thing? Now the question to ask is it the same thing with what is happening in this part of the country that is not? Certainly we can answer this in two ways. For somebody, going by the argument I have started from the beginning, one can say yes, and if we are to look at from the Western perspective, one can say no. Perhaps that is even why this now forum has now come up, Argungu educational aid, so that people from less economic background can be enrolled to go to school and acquire this education and become literate to a certain level. Now, since we are talking about transformation in this country, this literacy has been divided into so many categories. There is what they call basic literacy, functional literacy, and the rest of them. Now, for basic literacy, once somebody is basically literate, such a person is said to have acquired certain skills that he can survive in his immediate environment. For example, there is need of making commercial transactions in the market, in shopping malls, in supermarkets, and the rest of them. Somebody can only be expected to interact with his environment, immediate environment, perfectly or harmoniously when he acquires certain level of literacy. And now that is a basic literacy, and which every child of school age or every child that is growing is expected to be exposed to. Now talking about functional literacy. A functional literacy is a type of literacy acquired by an individual that is expected to be usable not only to himself, as in the case of basic literacy, but it is expected to be used by the society as a whole. For example, take a mechanic who is repairing car. Most of us here are using cars. So if somebody who is a mechanic has not acquired the skills to be a mechanic, then certainly when we run into trouble with our cars, we are certainly going to find it very difficult to repair what has been damaged in our cars. And as such, the literacy acquired by a mechanic is said to be usable not only to himself socio-economically, but to the entire society as a whole. So that is the argument. Now the argument that the paper is trying to portray here is all these various literacies we do have that we initially consider not to be part of the education system are supposed to be incorporated into the system so that the system will be inclusive. It will be all-encompassing. There is nobody, even if somebody is running on the street that is supposed to be left unattended to by government. And this can only be done if government cannot come in, because the assumption is if a country like say in the Asia can do it that is not as economically buoyant as Nigeria, why not Nigeria? The only problem we do have is political will. Our politicians are not willing to address these issues. So such type of people, the paper argues that are supposed to be incorporated in the formal curriculum of education. Or like what we do have in the past when if somebody reaches certain age or who has not been privileged to have been to school, he will only be engaged in what they call adult literacy classes, that you will only acquire some level of education and it ends there. No, the paper now is arguing that These type of literacies we are seeing on the C3 class, that of mechanics and what have you, are supposed to be inclusive, provided the country needs to move forward. We've seen many cases in many other countries where somebody will not go to school, but he will be exposed to a certain literacy level that will enable that person to be very useful to the society. For example, the late Steve Jobs, the pioneer of Apple. Steve Jobs dropped out of university. He enrolled in California Institute of Technology, but according to him, he cannot cope with the rigors of the curriculum in the university, and as such along the line, he had to quit. And after quitting, he now went into a technology-based business. Along the line, he was able to come up with the concept of Apple. All the smartphones and systems we are using from Apple are credited to let Steve Jobs, even though he doesn't have any degree. So that means America was able to utilize his talent because he is actually a talent. Only because he cannot go to school, acquire the formal education, that does not mean his intellect cannot be used to be converted into something useful to society. So that is one of what the paper is arguing. That we have a lot of people in status. They have not been privileged to have come from a certain family background that would have warranted them to go to school. They were not able to do so. And as such, if government can be able to identify such type of individuals, enroll them in schools, or create a certain special centers, vocational centers, they will be able to harness properly their literacies, and the literacies will eventually be useful to the society. And again, I would like also to use it because we are in the midst of people who have been in the government for quite a number of years. In fact, even before some of us were born, that there is a certain curriculum now operational in Germany. Anybody who enrolled in a school in Germany, after graduation, such person must have been exposed to a certain skill that would warrant such a person to survive even after graduation. Why I am bringing this one is because of the opportunities for somebody who has been to school, because some will think as if they have been to school, immediately after graduation, especially those who acquire degree, will readily be absorbable in the society, which is not the case. But if the country can employ or can adopt the system of Germany, whereby along the line when you are pursuing a certain degree in the university, you will equally be exposed to some skills necessary to survive in the society, so that even if you are graduate in the event of graduation and you could not get job or employment elsewhere, you can make use of the skills acquired in the university and survive and even be useful to the society. So without much taking of the time, I would like to call it a day here and wish Argungu Educational as a successful ending. And I hope the program will not eventually be affected by vested interest. People who are identified with certain talents, regardless of their background, are the people who are supposed to be the direct beneficiaries of this type of initiative, so that they will go to school, acquire the necessary skills, and help in the economic, socio-economic transformation of this country. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Thank you very much. That talked on some key points. Yes, our royal fathers, we have time to talk. I know we have a lot of academics around. We will discuss a keynote address from architect Muhammad Ahmad Sabah, the one Secretary of the State.
What I just want to say is I am impressed by so that we now are in bringing and launch an NGO, what they call this education expo or less privilege. That is a very, very good. What I want to advise him is to please not be discouraged by what he is going to encounter, because he's going to encounter a lot of impediments in his way. His success is very, very important, because that will now change other members of the society to bring more NGOs into society and further bring much more required or needed development for this young state. Another advice I want to give is what such endeavors you come out to do, please do contact the government. be in good relationship with the government. At least let them know that you're around. Even if they don't give you any financial assistance, be with them so that they know that such an NGO exists. If there's anything they want to help, they will come to you, and that will further enhance your organization. The last speaker, I'm highly impressed with what you said. Yes, literacy does not just mean Western education. Whoever is literate in any subject, any, like you said, like religion. When the Western education came into the country, they were highly surprised to see how sophisticated our system of rulership was at that time. They couldn't develop it any further, and that's why they brought this system with what they call this indirect rule. They found out that the northern government's system of living was quite okay. The Sharia system, the Sarawak system, they had all their rights, and they felt they were surprised to see that such a place like this, after having left the hinterland there, they thought they would never find such kind of education in this part of this country. So we should endeavor, we should strive to surpass even those in the western, southern part of this country, because we have it already illiterate, but only getting a new kind of education. We should face it squarely and show people that we can definitely handle it further. And I want to assure the speaker that the politicians now have the will, we have the political will to advance further. You know what I'm saying, and God willing, it will be a different person. We will fight, we will strive to say that we're also African tigers, just like the Asian tigers of Malaysia. This gathering a very successful deliberation, and I hope 1 year again we will be called again to see it and discuss the progress so far made. Thank you, and most welcome.
Suggestions, advices, and I want to recruit Robert. Because I pray that people stand. But having said that, we want to allow to take their name from the members of the I think we can take your
Here in Berlin, Kelly, those from Argungu. I am also opportuned to be the state chairman of Academic Staff Union of Secondary Schools, Kelly State Chapter, as well the National Financial Secretary of the Union. Having said this, I have some little questions which I want to ask the presenter of the paper. But before asking the question, I had wanted to ask the presenters whether there is any time that is stated for us to ask questions pertaining to the foundation, or there is no, because I also have some questions regarding to the foundation, and I also have questions pertaining to the paper. I don't know if I can be answered. Can I go and ask all? Or, okay. On the paper, I sincerely appreciate the presenter, and I have learned a lot of things from what he has presented. However, I wanted the presenter to have explained to us what is children, or who are children. Because by knowing who are children, our paper will be limited to that group based on the theme of the presentation of today. And whether the presenter have done a little work on knowing what is on ground in Kebbi State, particularly to the statistical data available for children in Argungu that we are referring to in our discussions of today, and whether by the statistical data, we know the underprivileged is Argungu, either as a local government or as an emirate. And how can it be reflected on our presentation of today? These are my two questions. Thank you.
We'll take three questions.
Representing Intellectual Foundation for Orphans, Widows, and Less Privileged, and the Program Officer. Representing my Executive Director, Ajana National Friend, the wife of the figure, and the Secretary for Establishment. Sir, I want to appreciate our presence here. And of course, part of my question has already been partaken by the comrade. But I want to make 1, 2, or 3 issues. Number one, because we share the same sister foundation with Argungu Educational Aid, I want to draw your attention that I don't know whether and if you have undergone CAC registration. If you do, because I know the problem we face when we are trying to spell out privilege, the D does not really come in. Some of the versions of the present system take D where it is, some take it to the last, and some does not appear. So I know the conflict we had for our people to leave KD to Abuja because of the presence of the D. But that is by the way, in case of national registration for CAC as an NGO who is properly coming up. That's number one. Number two, sir, we don't know with the limit and the speed the foundation is going. Only God knows your limit if you continue this way. If for the first conference you have in the mix members of the parliament, the state, and the like, that's a very good one. But the issue here is at the international phase, there are issues and some contentions that of course they don't want to see. The picture of the children, I think, is appealing. The picture of the children is appealing. We're talking about education and aid. And we're talking about vulnerability. Now, we need to relate the educational aspect with what we see in the logo. The logo is portraying vulnerability in terms of aid, not just necessarily education. And I think that is why I wanted the paper to make a link. How education can drive the socio-economic aspect transformation to make these children live a better life from what we are living now. And of course, sir, the other child, the third child, it is appealing that under national theme, you don't portray a child who is naked. Yes, it's an abuse to humanity. No matter how vulnerable, no matter how vulnerable, it's an abuse. So, sir, I think here we are trying to talk to ourselves. Yes, so I think it is better we can still go back to it and see how we can at least uncover that child, just to cover that aspect, because I don't want you to face this challenge maybe some other time. That's two. Thirdly, sir, back to the paper. I'm sorry I'm taking you much of that, but I believe we are supposed to be here up to 2 or even beyond 2, but we need to talk to ourselves. Yes. The paper indeed dwell on the different aspects and platforms of education. I was opportune to go to school in Argungu. First set, 1980, to open summer secondary school. First set. Therefore, I know what it takes to read in Argungu as we are trying to talk about the educational setup there. Sir, the education we talk about, the literacy we talk about the Almajiri, the Almajiri relation, or probably the Quranic conventional education. Even though the paper addresses the issue of you cannot call somebody who is learned in that perspective as illiterate, But I think we're talking about the modern world today. I was opportune to go for a conference this way where some of the professors from non-Fordio were present. To be specific, Professor Osoku. And I quote, he said, sir, that the West have already outweighed the North. And I think it's a challenge. So that the Sweeney switch and he's like, idan Arewa na son to kamo West, sai ran da mace bahillata ta ɗauko nono daga roka, ta zo cikin gari ta sai da nono, ta sai jarida ta koma roka ta makaranta. Wallahi that thing touched me because I know kafin ballaka ta sai jarida ta je gida ta da karanta wannan kuɗin nono zai wuya. And that was his quote. Now it's a challenge. But unfortunately, if we decide to hide under the banner that our children are still making headway in the Quranic setup, indeed they are. To a man, news injury, do the agricultural, the ke conventional statements, the abubuwa, the cultural transformation in the living world. Akwai wanda muka samu wanda ke translating shi cikin ajami balle wanda yaran ga namu su karanta shi har su samu wannan knowledge. A shekara kenan aka ce illiteracy yanzu da mu din ne ake magana. So I think we need to make relationship between the first paper. I don't know the second paper anyway. That is second paper. But second paper, Amma, I had wanted in the first paper, she highlighting ways in which yaran will get conventional education. So that suna yakanta journals, suna yakanta textbooks, suna yakanta wasu abubuwa, suna yakanta jaridu don su san menene contemporary issues of the day so that they can transform themselves economically and socially. I think that is the area we must talk to. Thank you very much.
I'm Argungu Musa from the Department of Statistics. Waziri Umar Federal Polytechnic here at Argungu. As a follow-up to what the first two speakers have said or asked, I don't know, I'm also having the same view. Even though the last speaker has combined the two. Whether we have to comment on the paper as presented, or we can also comment on the NGO as well. So, let me go to the paper first. It was a nice presentation anyway. But then to my surprise, when I came in, I saw a projector. And my thinking was the presentation was going to be on PowerPoint. The presenter was sort of complaining about timing and other issues. I think when you attend conferences and workshops nowadays, in most of them, presentations are meant to be compulsory using PowerPoint presentation. The paper may be lengthy anyway, but if he has put it in slides, I think it will make it very easier. As he makes presentations, the audience will be following, and at the end of the day, before he runs off, we'll be able to capture maybe all that he's trying to present. So to my surprise, I don't know, even though it is a PowerPoint, this is something that can still be projected, and we can be able to follow effectively. Secondly, in the absence of that, I expected, we call it a conference. So when you come to conferences, you come to learn. You come to learn new things. In the absence of the PowerPoint presentation, I expected to have at least the hard copies. The paper may be voluminous, like I said, but with the copies with us, as he makes presentation, we'll be following, and at the end of the day, we'll be able to capture. So, to me, the paper is halfway presented. He said it's so voluminous, but the timing and the way the paper was presented, I think there are a lot of other issues that are very important that we are not be able to capture because of the absence of these two. So I think maybe in subsequent presentations or maybe conferences that will come up. The next paper, I don't know whether it is in that. Maybe, okay, the next paper or subsequent conferences, I think that should be taken note of. Then, my second observation is when he came to the concluding remark about the German setup. I think the same thing is done in Nigeria. You go to any higher institution of learning, there is what they call the entrepreneurship development that is made compulsory to all students at all levels.
before you graduate, you register for a skill. There are workshops or training centers where you need to go and trade, so that before you graduate, at least you go out with a trade that one can use to sustain itself. So I don't know, maybe whether it is the same thing that the presenter was trying to point out. Thank you so much.
Another question should be taken from let's give it to me to comment. One, I will preserve the other because it has been overtaken by other commenters. First of all, I want to commend the effort of the organizers of this program. Sincerely, I'm very happy to hear that at least some group of people came up with the idea that it's a problem on education. They identify that it's a problem and they are making an attempt to solve the problem. That is a very good initiative. And that is the one for any achievement in the whole world. You identify that it's a problem and then you come up. It doesn't matter if you are traveling for 1 million miles and you are making one single step, you get there one day. Now, the second thing I will say, it has been said, but we want to repeat to you that you are going to encounter a lot of problems along the line. Sincerely, no matter how good it is, you are going to encounter. So we want to encourage you that you should be patient and you go to a mission and patient. You should not be distracted against all odds. Then it should be whatever you are going to do, you should base it on sincerity of purpose. Please. That's one way of making achievement. Then coming back to the thing, I mean the whole NGO is safe. I think there should be a forum where we should discuss about certain things. I'm really not comfortable about so many things. Number one is the name of the NGO itself. Maybe if you have another forum that we can sit down and deliberate and give us our own opinion about it so that it can refine. Don't worry. People are there to support you, to advise you. We are not challenging you, condemning you. No. We are just trying to advise you. When we look at it, Argungu educational aids. The word aids is being used for something. It's an internationally recognized abbreviation, means an acquired immunodeficiency syndrome in health sector. That has been recognized internationally. Anybody that sees AIDS, the first thing that comes to his mind is that it's an infection going on of HIV. So I would now like to make maybe a plea to them, if it is possible. You are gone far, but if you are not registered with CSC, maybe you have to think about the name. You can replace the word actually with another word. Then secondly, is this NGO going to take care of only Argungu town or Argungu MH, Kebbi State, Nigeria, or what? So you have to think about it. It's very important. Because the first thing that comes to somebody's mind with a caption is that you are only trying to localize it within Argungu. But in my own opinion, you should not localize it. It should be a global thing. You aim at a global system. Then in your agenda, there should be a column for the people that are chairing this NGO. They should come up with a presentation. They should tell us who they are. We need to know. What is their vision and mission? What is their objectives? We need to know. We need to know about whatever they have for us. So, is there a problem in education in Kebbi State? To some people, there is no problem in education in Kebbi State, but you should say it here. We should know. Yes, there is a problem. You advise them. Now, what are those challenges and how do you intend to tackle the challenges? We need to know. So that column for presentation should be there. This is the first meeting. So people should be carried along. People should know why is the formation, why is the need for formation of this NGO. We need to know. So it's very, very, very important about this thing. So the replacement aspect of it also, I want to correct that. The replacement should come towards the end of the program. A lot of distraction in the initial part of the program, once you begin to distribute things in the area, you distract people from reading them. Because if you actually ask many people what the presenter presented, I tell you 50% are paying attention to how do I get my water, how do I get this thing. So So it should come towards the end of this thing. But at the end of the day, I think finally I commend you for the very good initiative. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I would like to start from, like I said from the beginning of my presentation, I was only contacted lately because the initial presenter was supposed to be a colleague who was sent by the university on a certain assignment in Mina. So because he could not make it, he asked me to come and present it on his behalf. So all I have presented is the handiwork of the presenter, Dr. A.M. Ikma. But I believe, because I read through the paper, there is no statistical evidence regarding the state of affairs of the children in Argungu local government or in terms of school enrollment, which I believe is a very nice observation, and I will take it to him. Because I believe he may eventually wish to publish this paper elsewhere for his academic progress. So it will go a long way in enhancing and making the paper rich, I believe. And then secondly, Abdullah Usman, regarding the D there, well, I am not a linguist, so that should be left to language experts to clear the issue of whether D should be there or not. But I believe, like you rightly pointed out, if the name of the organization is taken to CAC for registration, they will make that observation, which they might have done already, I don't know. So again, the second part of this question, Abdullah Usman, is link between the paper and the children. There is a link, but what I would like to draw our attention here to is the link is not from the way he is looking at it, though important, and it should have been part of the paper. He talks about vulnerability, which I believe, of course, when you talk about someone being underprivileged, the vulnerability because of the socio-economic status and what I will have to come in. But the paper looks at it from an academic point of view, in terms of what, National Policy on Education has made as a provision for enrollment and how someone can acquire literacy. And the provisions made for someone to acquire literacy is what the paper dwelt on and not taking vulnerability into account. But again, I will take it to him as a message that there is need for including vulnerability in the paper. And again, there was an assertion, as I was once said, made by Professor Argungu in one of the conferences he attended. Well, I would like to make it very clear here that Professor Argungu is my teacher. He taught me when I was undergraduate. There is a colleague of mine here also who was a year ahead of me from Maritabariki when we were in university. I respect him, but the issue is, as a student, I am looking at his position from a different perspective. I don't hold the opinion that unless when a woman from Ruga is able to come into the town, buy a newspaper and go back to Ruga with newspaper, before that mysterious gap between north and the south could be bridged. I don't hold that opinion. The opinion I hold is a lot of provisions have been made in the past, right from the time, in fact, right before independence. We were all told how Sardona and his friends were able to have, made quite tremendous contribution when it comes to sponsorship. A lot of, even Professor Argungu himself was a product of the handiwork of, I think, one military administrator in this state, the former Sokoto state, because he does tell us in class that he was one of few to have been privileged to read his first degree in US. And I believe he was also from an underprivileged family, but because of his intellect, he was able to have been flown to US for his first degree. So he was also part of it. What I'm saying is, government can address this problem. Now that we have quite a number of initiatives like nomadic education. Nomadic education is education for the nomads and people living in neighboring areas, which I believe is fully operational in this country. They are being met right at their hamlets in the neighboring areas with this education. And I believe it doesn't take the time when a woman will come to town, buy newspaper before that gap will be bridged. Because even if that gap, in fact, there are a lot of us now who are enlightened, who are academics, but they don't have that passion for reading newspapers. Then what will you say about that? If until when a woman from a village comes to town, buy a newspaper and go back to the village, and that is only when that gap is said to be bridged. I don't know that as an opinion I stand to be corrected. This is an educational forum. It's subject to constructive arguments and discussions. And again, there was also another question I have forgotten to address, asked by Brian Gerber, on how we can define children. I now remember, when we have been told psychologically that even if somebody is pursuing PhD, according to psychology, such a person can be considered as a child. Regardless of the level one is operating, such a person is considered to be a child. So whether the issue is addressed here in the paper or not, I believe our target is the children. And anybody, though a specification was made on the applicability. Yes, so that is what makes it specific, and that is why maybe you and me and others who are a bit privileged to have attended schools, acquire some degrees, cannot be part of this issue, but we can only contribute by the knowledge we have acquired over the years. And again, now on Yakubu Musavi, about PowerPoint presentation, initially, that was the plan. I started preparing the slides when I was in office, but because there was no time, so I had to rush, and I don't want to fail a colleague. Even though now police were in the exams. In fact, I was supposed to have had an invigilation this morning, but I had to ask a colleague to cover it for me, simply because I don't want to burden him. And I believe this information must have reached him earlier, because it's something he cannot avoid. He was sent by the university on a certain assignment in Mina. He asked me to come and deliver it on his behalf. So it was somehow haphazard. That was why I couldn't prepare the PowerPoint. But that was part of what I intended doing from the beginning. And regarding the hard copy again, of course, I agree, hard copy should have been made available for everybody here. But again, when I came, I realized that perhaps there was no provision made for printer and what have you. So that was why I did not even draw the attention of the organizers to make a provision for hard copy. But I know it would have been good if hard copies have been made available for people, so that even later, I believe people in years can read, pinpoint certain things, and then benefit from it. And again, regarding the German, with the recent readjustment of the curriculum of general studies, the only course that is being taught in university, having an inclination to entrepreneurial skills, is one course now introduced, venture growth and wealth creation in general studies. My argument here is being exposed to that course alone cannot make someone acquire required skills to be socio-economically buoyant. Government needs to go beyond that. Maybe in, say for example, if I'm now pursuing certain degree that has nothing to do with technical aspect of life, let me put it this way. For example, I am pursuing a degree in English when I don't have to relate with anything technical. An avenue should be created by the university system to perhaps make me go and acquire certain skills, say mechanical or electrical skills, that will enable me to, in the event of graduation, having not get job elsewhere, I will now go and make use of the skills acquired and help myself and help the society as well, which I believe is not operational now in any university in this country, because the curriculum has recently been adjusted to include entrepreneurship. In those days, most of us, from my temporary can bear me witness, when we attended the university, there was nothing in general studies like entrepreneurship. It has just newly introduced last 2 years ago, I think. So I think if a certain provision could be made of making people acquire some certain skills, regardless of the skills of their discipline, it will go a long way in addressing the problems of socio-economic problems the country is facing, starting from individuals to the entire country as well. Now, okay, so I think that's the end of it. Dr. Kenkiwa did not ask me about anything, so I don't think I will say anything regarding what he has pointed out. Thank you very much.
In fact, people have their own opinion and have their own observations for this program. All we know that the organizers have done a very good job. And with the crop of academics we have here around and present, we think are going to have a way forward. So whatever you want to discuss, this should be a way forward. Honestly speaking, all of us here, or most of us here, have been, we have experiences of going to conferences, international, national, and local. And with regard to the organization itself, I think is that, like somebody has said, we should have a very good time where we can discuss about that. Maybe even after the presentation of the papers, we can talk about that. Because, in fact, even with regard to the name, somebody was suggesting whether AIDS or whatever. I think there's a linguistic misinterpretation or there's a linguistic misunderstanding. And there's a genuinity linguistically with regard to the name. Like this AIDS, we can say AIDS, we don't pluralize it. Of course, you can pluralize that, so I'm it grammatically. But because of the assertion that there are certain organizations like, for example, you have US8. You know, we all know US8. So you can say 8, and that will simplify even organization. When you say Argungu Educational Aid, and the name, people, when we say Argungu Educational Aid, we are not referring to something that is only going to Argungu. No, it's just like a foundation. You can say, if you like, Tafarki Foundation. You can say Alero Foundation. You can say Mo Foundation. You can say Brigade Foundation. It's not only Brigade, or it's not only some localized. No, it can be national, it can be international, it can be local, depending on the definition of the scope of that organization. I think I would do. So I think that is from the, because this is just a nascent organization coming up with the zeal and passion to develop the education of Nigeria and to develop the education of northern Nigeria and Argungu in particular. So there must be problems here and there. So I think with the discussion we are going to have today, the organizers will have a way forward. And I think there's something that a colleague here, a friend, has said, which I want us to be very, very observant, because many of us, even from the academia, they think there's a wider gap between northern Nigeria and southern Nigeria. There's not any empirical evidence so far which shows that wider gap. But because of the feeling of the people that, you know, that is because education, Western education, have come to Nigeria, not southern Nigeria, for several years before it came to northern Nigeria, maybe just 100 years. So I think people are overemphasizing and overreacting. So I think that was what made our humble and tallest professor in the philosophy, Professor Argungu, who is my humble teacher and mentor, even said I discussed with him. So with the belief that maybe somebody from a Fulani woman, maybe she can know, that thing assertion is, to me, is completely wrong. Because even in the streets of London, you know, England, I think England, you know, is the mother of education, if you like. Modern education, Western education. So even in the streets of London, Londoners themselves, there are people who can neither read nor write, and they are Londoners. I have seen them even in 2012, in 2013. I discussed with them. I took data, empirical data, when I'm doing my research. So people should not overreact or overemphasize on certain issues. So I think, inshallah, we are going to have a way forward, and we just be patient with the little mistakes we are going to have.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. That was good, because I have whatever to flog whoever that is going to encourage, push. And the real manner we took it, we took. So please, that is not the idea. I want to welcome the second speaker, who is going to also talk his paper too. The second speaker is also a staff of Usman, about the role of girl-child education in sustainable development in Nigeria.
The role of girl-child education in sustainable development in Nigeria. And I will read, as I know, inshallah, somebody will have the copy. Education of girl-child education of girl-child is an investment in human capital. It requires the individual with knowledge and skills to participate in academic activities. It makes the female knowledgeable and productive in whatever activity she undertakes. It is observed that education develops one's personality, self-esteem, and self-confidence. Education develops leadership and decision-making qualities in the life of the girl child. It also helps the girl child to break away from the stronghold of tradition and come out to contribute her quota to humanity. This also helps her to contribute on equal terms with her, with the male gender. But however, despite the importance of girl child education to the society, there seems to be many threats and hindrances to girl child education. Among these are curriculum in the occupational choice, isolation of some settlements such as riverine areas, culture and religious practice, such as early marriage and practice of Buddha. Others include economic factor, location of the school that is far away from the home, the time spent on household activities, which hinders the concentration on study for the girl child. Then, who is a girl? Because my colleagues, I had somebody asking me, who is a child? A girl is referred to a young unmarried. But from this definition, biologically it is a part that the girl as a female is valid. Young unmarried woman is not a true in Nigeria, because in Nigeria we have girls that are married. If you attain the age of 9, 10, 11, 12, if you can marry, you can marry. But in advanced country, they require anybody that is not married as a girl to them. But in our own contemporary issues and our own society, a girl can be married at the age of 9. I have already declared. Then the concept of girl child education. The girl child education is that type of education given to a girl child which enables her to contribute effectively in the society she lives. Girl child education is that type of education given to females in order to prepare them adequately to meet up their social needs, their socio-economic needs, and enable them to identify their roles in the places where they found themselves, as well as to contribute for the national good. It's provide them to acquire various skills which make them economically empowered and knowledgeable in their field and contribute to the growth and development of the society and nation at large. Girl child education refers to skills and competencies acquired by girl child to adapt positively in the society and strive towards optimal socio-economic, political, and cultural development. Then, what is the objective of this girl child education? One is to inculcate the key areas of gender disparity in some areas of our society, such as education, in bracket, formal and informal education, health, employment, income, sector, and leadership roles, and decision making. To review available existing practices on the girl child from national and international literature, and create means of eradicating negative practice and adapt to positive ones. To identify the major socio-economic and traditional factors which create gender disparity between the female and the male child, and find ways of resolving them. To identify the major underlying factors that have aggravated gender disparity and how to allow for full utilization of the girl child potentials for the benefit of the nation. To make critical review on the designs, implementation, and the performance of the existing developmental policies and the program which could help to enhance the potentials of girl child. To make specific recommendations to appropriate quotas for the development of gender sensitive programs which are aimed at reducing gender disparity. To recommend appropriate strategies for full utilization of the potential resources of the girl child and how to enhance her productivity as well as improve the quality of her lifestyle to benefit herself, her family, and the nations. Then now the main focus of the paper, the relationship between the girl child education and the economic and the socio-economic development. No doubt, girl child education is viewed as an instrument in human capital which equips individuals to make positive contribution for sustainable development. A nation that recognizes the female as a powerful tool will provide policies that will help in national development. There is a popular saying that if a man is trained, an individual is trained. But if a woman is trained, the whole nation is beneficial. This statement, for those that have a hard copy, is not this, it's this. This statement shows that when you educate a woman, you are educating the whole nation. This is because not only female education, not only the education contributes overall development of herself, it also promotes health and sanitation in the home. It creates productivity and boosts emotional stability and rise self-esteem. Girl child education leads to productive both at home and at working places. A World Bank Global Study, United Nations, 2005 showed that nations that invested in female education benefited higher productivity levels. This is because the girl child sustainable development investment is a source for betterment, for better employment, prospect, and independence. Education will empower the girl child economically, thus enhancing her personal status as she grows into womanhood. She will have access to credit facilities and will open all doors that were shown and given her rights. Those given her bright future to cope with life challenges and live up to the national expectations. Her productivity increases and her economic empowerment is assured, which is in turn, sustainable development is guaranteed. Girl child education is also linked to better family nutrition and health. Better family nutrition and health is a benefit that is derived from girl child education, which no doubt enhances sustainable development. Evidence from the report United Nations 1995 suggests that higher level education for women are associated with better health and nutrition for their families. For women are associated with better health and nutrition for their families. This is because educated women raise a healthier family because they do not only know about nutrition and personal hygiene, they also know how to respond to health-related emergencies, to take their children when sick, as well as the importance of humanization, humanizing child from the bondage of health hazards, also about sustainability. Girl child education are future leaders. Since we are looking at where we stop, this will not be achieved unless, since the family is the first school and than any other educational institutions, she will also engage them to become educated as we aspire to be like her. Socially, of her husband and the family. I an educated woman is likely to come in order in the line and managerial abilities to our national development. OG 2011 maintained that broad-based goal of sustainable development. Educating your child will lead to curb the menace of national insecurity, ignorance, hunger, unemployment, which no doubt will enhance sustainable development. Having seen that there is significant relationship between girl-child education and sustainable development in Nigeria, yet there are some challenges which girl-child education could be facing. UNICEF 2007 reported some of the challenges as follows: poverty and economic issues. 70% of the population living below the poverty line. Girls often sent to generate income for families by selling wares in the shop and streets. Early marriage. So, okay. So, some of the challenges are, I will summarize as the early marriage is one of the challenges of girl-child education. Then in school there is inadequate infrastructures and there is cultural factors. Also there is gender bias. Boys are being considered more competent, more powerful to do any task in the classroom. The teachers at times do neglect the female ones because they thought they can't do like their own counterpart, that is the boys. That's some of the challenges. And girl child now are being taken for ceremony instead of them to be sent to school. If you're having to attend many occasions where big men are gathering, you see they are called to come and dance instead of them going to school, which is not the right way. You see them selling pure waters. You see them in the school, in the high institution, carrying babies, while the mother is attending the class, and the girl is carrying a baby instead of her to be in the school. These are some of the challenges facing the girl child education, not only in northern Nigeria, even in southern part of the country. They are even being said, they are being taken away from the country for other purposes. Then, what should be the way out for this? One, women who drop out from school should be encouraged to pursue their education career. As they remain in their homes, this is important because when you educate a woman, you are educating the entire family and nation at large. The government should promote and protect the girl child human rights to enable her to achieve educational goals. Government should outlaw or eliminate all socio-economic and social-cultural barriers to the girl child education. Girl child hawking should be stopped through public enlightenment and legislations. Parents, especially in the rural areas, should be educated and enlightened on the benefit of female education. I see that because of the time factor, I will stop here. Thank you very much for giving me
Thank you. He has spoken through his paper with the title Men in Nigeria. You can agree, though, like I rightly pointed out earlier, be more interesting than the rest, but we are just starting.
There will be many questions because
It is, how can we inculcate literacy and numeracy among girls and in the rural areas?
Myself, Mr. Turkey. Mine is not a question, but rather contribution, to just only two contributions, or rather one contribution, the other one is information. Contribution is with regard to girl child education. Linguistically speaking, there is a research-based evidence that girl children are more intelligent, are more quicker in acquiring language than the female child. Than the male child. So therefore, I think the science teachers and other teachers should know that we, from the linguistics, from language people, we found out that children are capable and very speedy in acquiring education. So that is one. And secondly, information, the one I said is, just a few weeks back, I was together with the ARC of Islam here with me, the acting head of department architecture in Federal University of Virginia. We visited, we have an organization, NGO, we visited the area, His Royal Highness Elizabeth Mira. Wallahi, the area was taken us, and because of this issue of girl child education, the area was like shedding tears. I can bear witness to that. The situation currently in Kebbi State is worrisome. It's disheartening. It's call for crime. Looking at because the area we have learned that we went through the pages of a report by UNICEF concerning the status of education. That is, we're talking about statistical data. The inputs there is very, very sympathetic and pathetic to all of us from Kebbi State and Northern Nigeria at large. In Argungu Emirates, hardly you find, especially in the local government, in our government, in Argungu, you find 2 or 3 who are indigenous residents of that particular local government who are degree holders in any health field. Yes. So, in fact, after the visitation, we went around to see the governor, His Excellency, and made his observation. He wants the governor and the government to prioritize education sector, to give it much bigger priority. In fact, to, if you like what the state government has done, that is the clear emergency on education. So he said, please, you should also do that. Call the government, call the attention, go to the schools and observe. There's a particular school in one of the local governments. They have more than 3,000 students. And there's no teacher for English language. There's no teacher for mathematics. The only teacher for mathematics has raised statistics. And he was even giving wrong information to students. So the situation is very, very bad, honestly speaking. That's it. So it depends on us as academics, as society builders, to see how we can promote, especially girl child education in our societies. The last, but not the least, do I say two, is I want to disagree categorically and fundamentally with the paper presenter when he mentioned that one of the challenges of girl child education in Nigeria, Northern Nigeria, is marriage. Though he didn't see marriage, but from his explanation, I understand marriage. That is where he said we don't have children. No. As far as I'm concerned, my own opinion is marriage cannot have hindrances to the acquisition of education. I have a lot of evidence. Professor Rukayet, the former Minister of Education, she said this herself. She finished her secondary school, then she got married. She was in her husband's house. She was a Scandinavian, just a white leaver, you know what you call it. And now she acquired further education up to becoming a professor. So tell me what, it depends on the interest and the passion of the children and also, of course, the parents or the husbands. Thank you.
College of Education. Let me start by congratulating the organizers for instituting the tradition of meeting to share ideas in an effort to provide solutions to our numerous and multifaceted educational problems. This is a very important milestone. On the paper I just presented, though I don't share the same opinion with the presenter, because any time when the paper is being presented on a child, to my dismay, it is to the detriment of a boy child. So that is my contention. Nevertheless, it will provide a very important reading, especially for the advocates of young child education. Let me share something that education, particularly of children, is more ecological rather than education. And I want to observe that in most forums like this, presenters and even the participants tend to, whether misunderstood or don't like to consider in that direction. When we consider a girl and a boy as a school children, we find out that ecologically their upbringing is different. So education has to take into cognizance of these very important differences. It is very significant. Even at the tender age of 2, 3, you find out their mode of playing is very different. When children, like boys, choose to play that demands some muscular utilization, like boxing, wrestling, the girl child will choose to engage in some kinds of play that doesn't demand, specified rules and regulation. That is why you hardly see them playing football, basketball, and others. So this is very ecological. And since education involves risk-taking, which is the most fundamental of education, it involves risk-taking. And since boys are very much muscular and they are very much energetic, right from the tender age, they seek to engage in anything that demands risk-taking. And education provides that avenue. And that is why we find out that boys are more engaged in these areas, particularly in vocational and other set of education. So we have to take into consideration of these differences, and that is how, and only how, we can provide an regular environment whereby we can engage all our sundry to educational provision. Another issue is that of making our curriculum very flexible. If we want to involve everybody on board, you have to make a wide spectrum of courses that will provide a learning environment for all our sundry to apply. You have to engage a curriculum that will have some traditionally, latest courses, some like a business education and so on and so forth. So this will go in a long way of seeing girls enrolling into education. I know this because I was now currently engaged in one research alongside Professor Emiwaso, who is my principal researcher. We have conducted a research on the pattern of enrollment and retention of female girl child education or girls of education in the Northwest. So we find out very revealing that this ecological foundation is very, very important. So we have to take it into consideration. When we are providing education, we don't consider only academic background and so on and so forth. That is the explanation. The next one now is on the paper. I found out display that the papers are presented but very good, but I term them imported papers with apology, because they are calling from Sokoto, all the papers are calling from Sokoto. One from university and one from College of Education. So I found, let me say, there is some injustice in even the placement of the presenters. So next time we make this choice of presentation, make sure that it is very cosmopolitan, in our opinion. I expect to see somebody calling from Polytechnic, somebody from College of Education, somebody from university. And not all from education. As the first presenter, I learned a specialist in science education, curriculum and instruction. And the other speaker maybe from education also. Primary education. So we're supposed to see some people also from other faculties, if it is a university and other areas or schools, if it is a College of Education. And that is what formed the argument of Madam Musa when the first presenter was shouting that in the conventional education there is not something vocational. But when I found out that he's from personal vocational, I found out he said that because there is a minus in his faculty of an department of science and vocational education. There is a minus. But in the College of Education that I belong to, most of the conventional College of Education, especially federal, we have what we call entrepreneurship education, which I believe is common in Polytechnic. So just we have to, and that is what makes this meeting very important, because it will provide an opportunity for conceptualization of ideas. So next time, please, you approach it into thank you.
Mr. Chairman, my colleagues, and particularly this important organization, Argungu Educational Aids. Mine is a comment, but first of all, I have to commend this organization, and I have to emphasize that the main importance of this is the care or the concern we have about education and advancing our people is what brought us here. So whatever we raise, I think it's an opportunity for us to vent all what has been worrying us so long, because we believe these people who voluntarily have thought of putting something like this together will help us in getting solutions. I was expecting that we will be here discussing solutions, but to my dismay, we are just enumerating the problems. But nevertheless, I think we are just gearing them up to look for solutions. What I want to say is, whenever we talk about girl-child education, you see, we cannot be divested from our culture. We cannot be divested from our religion. Education is universal. I mean, the importance or the use of education is universal. But the only problem is whoever is advanced in education will never give you education universally, but he mixes it up with his culture. Because now I know it is education that gives us light, gives us air, whatever. Look, whatever culture you are benefiting from it. So what I'm trying to say here, if we talk of girl-child education, our history is telling us that we have taken the giant strides when we have people like Asamago, the daughter of Osman Danfodio, being a scholar as of that time. She wrote in Arabic many books, and she had a class where she taught. So you see, it's just like what we are having here. Arabic is not her language, but she learned it. Then how can we be complaining of our religion being a hindrance? How can we be complaining about food being a hindrance? How can we be complaining about all those issues? Because she acquired them under that kind of situation. And let me tell you, we have countries now that have developed. Their language is still Arabic, they learn in Arabic, they do everything in Arabic. Let me tell you, we have a serious problem to consider. We are a people who have been touched by two civilizations. That was then when we are the leaders of education and intellectual aspect in this part of the country before the coming of the colonial masters. They only consider us as having such systems. That was when we are, because of the Eastern civilization, the Muslim civilization, if you like, which we have. So we have to consider these things. This clash of civilization needs careful consideration in our own respect. Let me show you one thing. We complain of education day and night. But our people, we have half of our people that did not go to these conventional schools. They can read and write in Ajami. What do we provide for them to read? What do they have? Tell me nothing. I was one in this Tangaya kind of school. I saw somebody, I was just trying to teach him how to read and write in these Latin characters. But let me tell you, this Soyeya books, I saw one Soyeya books written in Ajami, he can read it. Why we didn't have very good thing to give him to read? We are wasting, the potential is there. We are not utilizing it. And again, the next book I saw in his hand was Gospel, written in Ajami. Yes. We have nothing to read except these two things. Let me tell you, if we are just taking this criticism coming from the West, hook, line, and sinker will go nowhere. This month, I saw people being prosecuted in my area for not sending their children to school. They are just making them for them because they don't know the right. But which law are they going to prosecute them upon? None. So please, if we aim at finding these solutions, we should think deeply, and we don't have much things to hinder us in reaching what we need to reach. Because now education is becoming private matter. When we can do that. I know there are some states, please let me mention this. Because the country I want to give an example, what do I say, it's a taboo country. Please don't associate me with their creed. I want to mention Iraq. Yes, because I had many attempts, they were saying, if you are to take the ratio of population of the country and their educated people, Iran is one of the leading countries. But their women are wearing hijab, and they are not mixed schools. It doesn't stop them from becoming highly educated or what have you. So please, I'm not saying we should distort the system we have, but we have other avenues to even further help others. Like these people who now can, these Al-Majid system we have been complaining of. I tell you, if we have good books that are in Ajami, we will have taken them further with less difficulty. Because to say it all is not the language. Education is not just about language, it's not just English. Whatever form you give it, it will go. A person can apply it. So these are just ones to raise so that when we start working under this, we will reach somewhere. Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum. Sorry, I am not academician. You have been discussing academics. The unfortunate thing is that what we want to do, they involve legislation. You have the power to do that. The other thing is, consider the person we are addressing, the underprivileged child. Do we know his needs? What are his needs? We are now enumerating academically, do this, we do that. Do we hear from them their own, what do they need? So I want the NGO to please consider that whatever you want to do, some of them they involve law. You don't have the power. So the former secretary was asking you to go very close to the government. Don't forget that. And you should consider those people who are aiming at the pivotal point, the people who are concerned. Let us hear from them. I would be very happy to see that we see one or two of them here. But we came here, all of us are so-called privileged. Where are the people we are discussing about? Thank you very much.
My name is Ibrahim Investi. I work for Active Support for Rural People Leadership, a partner of Action Aid Nigeria. We have been on ground since 2007 and we are working on education, specifically girl child education. And locally enough, we cover Argungu agris, so in particular Auki LG. And then I have to commend the Argungu Educational Foundation for coming on board. I know their presidents will support our programs, especially in those axes, Auki and Argungu. I have two issues. Number one, a comment, and then a way forward to Argungu Education Foundation. A comment on the presentation made by the last presenter. I quite agree with Tafarki when he mentioned that marriage cannot be a factor affecting child education in Nigeria, specifically in Kebbi. And I also add that practice of Kuda, women, married women who are in Kule, they call it after Kule. I know that there are schools in Kebbi and the environs where married women are attending, and even in Sokoto and other states. So I cannot see that as a factor affecting girl child education in Kebbi or northern Nigeria. And then for me, one of the factors that affected girl child education, because recently we engaged a consultant to carry out a research on girl child, what hinders girl child education in Kebbi State. And then late last year, the report of the consultant was presented, and then we had the opportunity to invite Professor Babudo to be among the panel of discussants in that regard. And then issues that came out from that report showed that there are so many factors, but the key factors, number one, lack of political will. And then secondly, the issue around female teachers, because we know that there are schools where there are no female teachers, and if there are no female teachers, some parents are complaining that they cannot allow their children, especially girls, to be in school because there are no female teachers. And then the issue around poverty, which you have started mentioning in your presentation. I think until and unless we put those that are 10 charter education rights, which was presented or came up by UNESCO, and until and unless we were able to maybe go by just charter education rights, then the issue of girl child education maybe can be improved to some certain level. And then the advice to Argungu Educational Aid is that since it's a new organization, I would like to advise that when next we are having this kind of program, we should try to carry everybody along, especially the stakeholders on education. I don't know whether an invitation has been extended to Ministry of Education, Ministry of Women Affairs, State Universal Basic Education. These are the key agencies when we are talking about education. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
We are running short of time, so I work with paramedic center in here. I just have a message to everybody here. I pray that it will not be a recurrent decimal. Whenever we go for a meeting, a conference, a symposium, or lecture, or whatever it is, issues are already there. We know our problems. We only sit down, we talk, there's no action. No implementation. I just pray that this will not be a recurrent decimal, because it will be wasting of our time, society. So whatever you cannot do anything if you don't know it. So you must know, number one. You cannot know without learning. Whatever you learn without action is nonsense. So please and please let us take note of these three things. Let us put things into action. We know the problem. If you take Kebbi State, if you start talking about Kebbi State, everybody will cry here. Because everything, we are as a tale of everything in Nigeria. When it comes to mortality issue in Kebbi State, maternal mortality will be the leading. Childhood mortality will be the leading. 2 weeks ago, we were in the Emirates, where was the Emir of Argungu again. He posed a challenge. He asked us a question. He said, why is it that all the indigenous, 50 to 70% of Kebbi indigenous are rejected when they go for recruitment exercise for forces, either army, military, police, or whatever? Because of hepatitis B. So what are we doing to change it? We know the problem there, but what are we doing to change it? Capital noted. We overheard that there was a political will. We pray that we see the will in reality, in action. But for now, it's not there. It's not there. So we are only deceiving ourselves sincerely. In my own opinion, we are only deceiving ourselves. Talking without action means deceiving. Sincerely, thank you.
He was asking me how girl child education could be implicated. And actually, this is a collective effort between you and I, the community, the parent. Everybody must come together to work so that this girl should be enrolled in school. They should be sponsored. I made mention that one of the challenges of this girl child education is that of poverty. If you look at the level we are now, see, some children cannot go to school because their parents cannot give them 20 naira breakfast money. That's one of the problems. So the stakeholders, the people that are in good positions, they should try to look at these small children, especially the girls, then sponsor them to school. And there was a question raised by my colleague from the Polytechnic. He asked me, he didn't agree with me, saying that marriage is one of the factors that hinders girl child education. But believe me, I have the facts. I have many girls, or so-called ladies. They keep on telling me that, Marlon, if now I have a husband, I will not come here. This NCE, I can't do this wahala. Yes. It's reality. They only go to COE for NCE because there is no husband at hand. When they got married, even you yourself, you will be, because you are attending higher level of education, your head is very wise, you open eyes, you are an advanced person. That's why you can allow your wife to go and start interacting with men. And believe me, if you take keen observation, you will find out this early marriage is one of the factors. But Islamic does not encourage a lady that should go and hide herself in the house. Islamic allowed both men and the woman, or girl, or boys, that they should go and seek for knowledge. It is hadith. We all know it. But how do we interpret this knowledge? That's the issue. The level of understanding. If you go to rural areas, you find out what I'm saying is true. You see see a father with sky. Ya zan bata je wannan aikin kafirci. Ke da an samu da miji ki sai ki aure mana ko kuma. So I hope you are convinced now. Doctor to be. I hope you are convinced. You will be convinced. If you have an NGO that gives you a job to conduct this research, please invite me. You will find the fact, inshallah. Yes, thank you. I think that's all. Okay. One of my colleagues was asking the organizers why they only decided to invite maybe people from outside the station. Isn't it? Maybe, I don't know what they have in mind, but maybe they consider these two topics, they're related to the people that are more closer to this issue. That's why. Don't be surprised in their next program, they will invite you based on your field. I think you are now clear with this. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Muhammad Argungu. You will agree with me that in gatherings of internet, academics and the rest, arguments don't stop. It's a continuous process. So if we want to continue with trying to share ideas and argue, listeners and those who are participating for today's program, this program wouldn't have been a success. Either it is said in education that we disagree to agree. Because when you continue to disagree, ideas come in and then you begin to agree. Somewhere along the line, you begin to meet your ideas.
Actually, sincerely speaking, there's a lot of factors that's contributed me to form this particular NGO. One of the basic things, I'm an indigenous of Argungu, and I was able to make some observation that the level of education for those children who are less privileged, in fact, is less. The level of performance, most of them are moving like a straw dog. They are moving aimlessly like a straw dogs. They are moving, I call it a sort of stranded. So one day I made up my mind that it is a higher time for me to decide a way forward or helping those who are less privileged. Actually, I started as helping those people who are very close to me, that we are related. I usually used to pay some school fees to some of them. To the extent that I found out that there's a need for me to expand, to be paying to those people that are even related to me. But to a certain level, and I found out that I cannot do it alone. That's a basic need for me to have a partnership with some organizations and some meaningful individuals so that we can expand our help. We have the intention of making some donation before the end of either third quarter to the beginning of fourth quarter, which we hope to make some selection. We strictly aim to only aid public schools. We have the intention of making some schools in Argungu. We have the intention of making some peace schools in Kebi, maybe some in Kangiwa, some in Zulu, some in maybe Bonza, as a sample. But today is our press conference.
Why the emphasis on the less privileged? Why?
Actually, I personally believe I'm a human rights activist. So somebody who is human rights activist, I think, and I have a sort of, what do you call it, a sort of appealing for them. People who are less privileged are the people that I think I care much. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Actually, at the end of the day, we are trying to see, as said, how the less privileged children from the less poor background will be opted into a modern day.
Now, you know, the number of the less privileged in every society are just too much. How do you effectively do selection? Or you want to carry everybody?
At the time we will try everybody. But we are going for mass selection today. Who are the more poor among the poor? So that we give priority to them and see that they are well trained in order for them to acquire Western education.
Or is limited to argument or argument?
It's a game step, but
the organization is for
the organization is for Nigeria, but with particular emphasis in Argungu metropolis.
Now, have issues of just we have seen all the problems being raised by the speakers and stakeholders. How do you get to tackle some of these problems in your own way?
Actually, I want to start little by little, because we have worked for all community leaders, religious leaders, and of course our legislators in order to come to the area of education, more especially among the less privileged.
What do you have in government? What's like the government? Who are scared of
actually, so to say, government is overloaded. So this is a collective responsibility. We have the privilege, we have the government, we have the philanthropists, and we have well-meaning individuals. So if everybody want to help our less privileged, I think we can progress. Because government cannot do all this because government is overloaded. So that's why there needs to be privileged people, the well-to-do, and the meaningful ones to come in and assist the weaker ones in society.
Finally, what do you call the less privileged themselves?
They should have courage. They should be motivated. Because no matter how hard you are going to do to develop, if they don't have interest and motivation, your effort is effortless.